All right. Oh gosh, another day, another Monday, and Happy New Year for everybody. We are happy to be here. Starting, hang on, something going on. Okay, and starting our 2025 strong. And today we're going to have amazing guests, Maria, Serbina. Is that
Yep.
Maria? That's how you say it?
Serbina.
Sorry. Okay, like that. It sounds like there is a dessert that sounds like that. Almost, it's a French dessert. It's a really good one. Anyway, so hi everybody. So anyway, here is Caroline and myself, and that you guys know us already, and we love having guests, especially talking about finance. It seems like it's a big subject to talk to because we feel like a lot of people are lacking. And how we know? Because we were there. We were just there. So it's not like we know everything, but we can help. So today we're going to have Maria, and before I'm not going to actually tell you anything about Maria because I would love her to introduce herself and what she does and how she helps people and what's her services and her background. So, for no further ado, okay, Maria, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. With pleasure, actually. So if I'll start telling you about all my backgrounds, we will be here until probably 2026. So I will try to make it like literally in 2 minutes.
Okay.
By education, formal education, I'm a construction engineer. I have masters in construction engineering, IT, and I have business degree in e-business. So I'm IT and construction. Go figure.
Wow.
Moving forward, many years ago, we immigrated to Canada. Then a few years later, we immigrated to the United States, and it's where I started my business journey. And I started in IT, then I moved forward into marketing, and then real estate. That's fun part, real estate. And that was the point when I realized that people, not just in our country, in the entire world, I lived in 5 countries, completely financially uneducated. And not because they want to be, it's just because how it is. Because the system prefers to keep people to be financially uneducated.
Exactly.
Because that's how the system, entire global system thrives.
Right.
Moving forward, working with real estate clients, I look at their credit scores. I ask them where they invest money because I started working with investors. Again, moving forward, I started doing private lending. To be particular, gap lending. It's exactly how Miri and I met.
Exactly.
That's very interesting. However, we live 3.5 hours from each other. How cool
She's
is that?
down south from us.
Yeah.
By the way, Caroline lives in Orem, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. So I'm in St. George, you're in Orem, and Miri, you're in Sandy, right?
Right? Correct.
Yeah, correct. Awesome. Anyway, and what started happening, every time when I work with people who do gap lending, I start asking about their debts, about where, again, they invest in money, and it's like blank. And a few years ago, I met one gentleman who actually worked with financial planning and helping people with absolutely amazing debt strategies. So that's that. But make long story short, 35 years entrepreneur, been in different businesses, and it brought me to this amazing financial industry.
Yes, and
Mhm.
as Caroline and I would absolutely agree with you, and Caroline can add in a minute. It's it's really in general the public is illiterate. It comes down to finance because I know I was there. I know Caroline can speak for herself, and that's why it's been my mission to actually not only to educate. Started in my home. I wanted to educate my kids. I want my kids to know more than I do. And then I said, okay, let's try to educate anybody that actually be willing to educate it. So I'm sure Caroline totally agree with that. And
Yes.
So that's how we started. And Caroline, you can add whatever. What's your thoughts about this?
Oh, no, I totally, and I would say add to it, just like you've been well educated, you've done what you were supposed to, quote unquote, of going to school, getting a degree, but a degree is nothing if you don't have the financial knowledge to go along with that to really set you up. Because even if you have a job, you still need to know what to do with your income, how to prepare for the future. Yeah, like Miri and we just felt like we don't want people to take so long to come to the realization that there's so much more to know to make better decisions and to be better financially prepared for this stage of life that we're in.
Absolutely.
Exactly, ladies, and I can tell you, this is the story that people need to hear. My ex-husband is anesthesiologist. We've been married for 23 years. We, like you heard me, we went through 2 immigrations. Going with zero, like we literally, when we moved to Canada, in 6 months, we ended up on welfare. Going from welfare in 3 years to 90,000, we started making 90,000 because Oleg was in residency, he was making his money, I was working as IT, I was making my money. From welfare to 90 grand, and then from 90 grand, over $350,000. You think, and he was working W-2, I was working W-2. Should I tell you what happens with income taxes?
Oh, yeah.
We were paying over 80,000 in taxes. Not even one financial advisor came to us and said, guys, let's get together and look at everything what you have. None. And we talk about 2% of our population in earnings, doctors. Can you imagine, like, I have construction going on right now. Can you imagine construction workers? Even people who own construction companies, they're absolutely clueless. The industry wants people to stay there, like literally stay there.
I know.
And this is the craziest part. Because we are all in the prison, and our job to let people out of this prison. So let's do it.
Absolutely. So
100%. Well, and I would add to that as well that it's almost like we just don't know what questions to ask to know how to improve our situation to begin with. And even then, we tend to feel like everyone is smarter than us, and we're going to appear to be so ignorant, which we don't want to be ignorant, but again, we just haven't realized what it is we don't know. And taxes is a huge part of that. That almost, I think people feel obligated to pay taxes, and whatever the bill is, they're just ready and willing to pay it without saying, do I really have to pay all those taxes? Is there another solution where I can have more control over my earnings than giving such a large part of it away to someone who I don't trust will use it wisely?
Exactly. And what we know, our taxes are not really used wisely.
no, not at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
and that's the huge point. And pretty much we have to start our conversation. Miri, I know you have a bunch of questions. Let's do questions because that's so exciting.
Okay. Well, okay. So well, back to question. What I've learned in especially my last year, and that's come down to you don't know what you don't know, but if you learn how to ask really good question, you can get there. You really can get there. Is that people don't ask question. They're just living in a status quo. That's whatever. If everybody's doing it, it must be right. You know what I learned? If everybody's doing it, it's obviously not right. That's my opinion. But anyway, so Maria, you said you're working with people that have debt, right? You kind of like, so how you combine, what do you offer to people when you hear those, when they tell you they don't have a clue what they're doing, or they don't know, because you ask them a question and they have no answer for you. So what do you suggest first for them?
Well, first of all, let's start from the beginning. I sit down with families And I do financial needs analysis. Like literally, I have the form, surprisingly, it's right here. And we go through all questions. And questions, what we ask besides general questions, because they're very important, because we're these people in certain state of their life, right? The beginning, mid, or people
Where they
who
want to
are
go.
exactly, exactly. I ask them about goals and dreams. And then I ask them about short-term, mid-term, long-term, and then we go into nitty-gritty. How much you make, what kind of debt you have, where you working, stuff like that. In expenses, and we go into like literally food, rent, mortgage, auto, like to the point, to the point. And when we get into this lovely thing that usually if they're on W-2, assume they're on W-2 because it's just an example, I always ask them, how do you do your deductions? And we look at their deductions. And usually, if you have two dependents, you put two dependents, then it's like your employer provides your health insurance, you say, cool, you don't even look at numbers. You don't look at a FICA, whatever, it's not FICA, whatever, retirement, why I always forget that thing. You got it, right?
Yeah.
No one ever looks and say, why is it like this? Miri, speaking of asking the question, why I have to claim all my dependents, why my government or our government wants all this money, where is this money going? And when I tell people, I said, listen, I look at your history and you're a responsible person. Yes, you have that because you have mortgage, you have credit cards, stuff like that. However, you're always on time, you know what you're doing. Why don't you claim zero dependents? And this money, what we just looked, two dependents, federal and state taxes, right? You pretty much put on separate account, what we call abatement account, so high yield accounts. And we have accounts that bring quite nice return. And just collect this money. Yes, it's not much, it's 4.5%, but guess what?
It's better.
You just made yourself couple of dollars that you can spend on new shoes for your kids. Or I don't know, lipstick, I don't know, whatever you prefer, you know. But anyway, this is the strategy, because the government is borrowing money, using money for whatever who knows purposes. Why not to pay yourself first? This is one of the strategies only for families who are very, very responsible. If they are not responsible, this is not my responsibility to give them an advice, knowing that they will spend money on something else. Trinkets, right?
Right. And I think, and I find that it's the hardest thing, and Caroline can concur that, especially when we talk with people, when we tell them how they set up. What's, like you said, what's their goal? Where they want to be in 10, 15 years. You don't want to wake up at 50 and say, oh, wow, I'm not where I want to be. However, what happened is that most people just, they'll go and spend every day on Starbucks coffee, but they won't be consistent of paying themselves first. And that's our motto, is like, pay yourself first.
Exactly.
It is a concept. It's hard for people to get. I see it because I have a daughter that I fight with her, because she gets in her head like, you pay yourself first, because you would be so happy in 20 years. You'll see it's going to be worth it. But it's I think it's a mindset. It's something that people really, really struggle, because we don't grow up that way, right? It's family where we come from, right? So
exactly. And the picture, let's literally, because we have listeners and we're on video, so it's very visual. Imagine Uncle Sam, who is staying first in line. Uncle Sam is first, that dude in the hat.
Yes.
Then your auto loan, because pretty much almost everyone in America pays for the car. Your car is next. Mortgage. So the bank is next. Can you imagine this like figure standing? And then your family, your kids, your little babies staying at the end. And when we go to the end, it's zero.
Nothing.
Your kids get zero.
Well, you get zero too. I mean, because you'll take care of your kids before you ever put something aside for yourself.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, we're not even talking about you. You don't even dare. You're not even in the line.
Not even
right?
the line, Caroline.
Yeah. And that's the picture I want
Especially as mom.
everyone to see this picture. Your little babies, just keep it in, it's like literally take the picture. They like pull the picture if you don't have babies anymore and put them right there. The last one in the line. And when you see this picture, you will say, what? Really?
You're right. So you have to reverse it. I
Absolutely.
totally agree. Pay yourself first. Uncle Sam can wait in line. He doesn't
Exactly,
have to-
and we'll talk further about that. Another that strategy. This is the easiest one, and for some reason, only few people are doing it.
Okay.
Guys, if you have a mortgage, please pay twice a month. 2 times instead of 1. Just split it in half. You know what happens? Again, for some reason, people don't think about it. You will pay your mortgage faster, like 5-7 years faster.
You see, but people don't know. People
Yeah.
really don't know.
We talk about, Miri, you said compound interest. This is how compound
Get there.
interest
That's
works.
compound. Yes, exactly. You're right. We love compound interest. What do you want to tell us about compound interest? What do you want to share with that? I mean, this is a great strategy, and I hope people will take it in mind and not get lazy and do that because it's amazing strategy. Because there's all this little strategy that it maybe in a scheme you think is like it's not a big difference, but it's the little things that adds up. Like compound, it adds up and it's doubling, and it's like, and then in one day you look, it's like wow. It's like that's why it's called compound.
Well,
interest.
and the time too.
time.
Paying twice a month instead of just one check.
Yes.
Generally, I mean, people are moving more these days, but also for I've been in the same house for 32 years, and so it makes a difference over time.
Yes.
Absolutely, but it isn't crazy. 5-7 years from your 30 years mortgage. It's incredible. And when we look at compound interest, how much money you saved, it's not even like, okay, pay my house faster. Look at numbers. Because usually 30-year mortgage, you pay triple for your house, 3 times.
It's awful. It's painful.
Absolutely, yeah. And I will give you even more grotesque example besides Uncle Sam standing. If you take $1 and compound it 20 times, you will get 1,040,000. Right?
Yes.
We know this number, 1,040,000. No taxation, nothing. We're just doing multiplication, compound 20 times. If we start taxing 30%, right? Because capital gains on every dollar what we compound. Should I ask you a question or you know the answer?
I don't know the answer.
No,
right
I
now.
don't.
Caroline, why I call you Carol? You see, that's how video goes, Caroline.
Well, we used to live in Europe, and I was always Caroline over there, so I respond to either one.
Okay, awesome. Because Miri and Maria, we have the same name anyway. Caroline, what would be your thought if we start taxing every dollar from, 1,040,000, doing the same math? What do you think you will end up with?
Well, off the top of my head, I'm thinking 30% less.
Well,
but
that's what I was thinking.
But when you're compounding, it's different.
You will end up with 47, I believe it's 47,000.
Wow.
If we will do the same, we tax $1. So we have 70 cents. We double 70 cents. It's $1.40. Now we tax 30% from this. And we will end up with $47,000.
Huge, what a difference.
This is what people do with credit cards, and we're all guilty when we're accumulating debt. That's how much money, negative
Yeah.
compound interest, we are accumulating, and positive for the bank.
Yes.
Thank God
Oh,
we
absolutely.
have them. They provide certain service, but if we use it not in our advantage or stupidly, there is a word such word.
Yeah, well, not smart. I mean, so asking you, so from that thought, in credit, debt can be used for your advantage. And if it is,
Absolutely.
what way? Let us know. Tell us.
Okay, this is the coolest one. Speaking of, again, I will give like little tiny tips because that's what people can literally implement. When we look at our credit card bill, there are two dates. You know that, right? Ending cycle bill, the
Yes.
date,
Yes.
and when you need to pay your bill. And usually
Exactly.
ending cycle, it's like 7 days
You're
prior,
right.
yeah. If you pay that amount or on that date, everything what you put on your credit card will pretty much report to the credit agencies that you have zero. Again, you
Right.
have to be responsible. I'm not saying if you make a minimum payment, it probably won't matter, however, it will, even with minimum payment.
Okay.
There is another strategy with lines of credit. People have lines of credit, and we know lots of people have HELOCs.
HELOCs.
Without realizing that HELOC is actually compound interest or variable interest, right?
Yes. It does.
Every day accruing, or you can go back and forth.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you have W-2, you can put all your money, what you make every month,
In a
on your
HELOC.
line of credit. So you erase the interest from your line of credit if you use it for something else.
You're right.
Very interesting story about Transamerica. You know the building Transamerica in San Francisco. You know what Transamerica did? It's actually open $1 billion line of credit. And when they were getting money, I think they're still doing this strategy because it's amazing. They get money from people who pay insurance,
Okay.
and they pay off their line of credit. Then they use line of credit to pay their bills or pay whatever they need to pay, premiums and stuff like that. Then again, they get bulk of money every month. They put it back. They paid for this building zero.
Wow.
Because they were using this accumulative strategies. And actually you can use the same strategies even with credit cards, because sometimes you can pay your rent with a credit card because now we have new apps and stuff like that. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
And if we look like, for example, if you buy a car, and we just don't have time to show all numbers, that quite often higher interest rate on your HELOC or line of credit on your house, for people who don't know what HELOC actually stands for,
Yeah.
this higher interest pretty much make you money if you use this strategy.
So
It's
by
the most...
by putting your money inside the HELOC, that's what you're saying.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. Yeah. Because when you have a car payment, it's every month you just pay and pay and pay, and doesn't matter how fast you're paying, you're still paying. However, with this strategy, you pay off HELOC. Also, you have this amount of money that you can invest.
Yeah. No,
Even
absolutely.
if you invest in, put on abatement accounts, even with that, you're still making 4%.
You're right.
Yeah.
Here, 0 and 4%. And for people who are really interested, we can go deep into it in completely different conversation, literally show numbers. But there are strategies, and people need to know about the strategies.
You're right. You're right. That's amazing
Well, I
strategy.
was going to say, especially, I mean, the thing that that really piqued my interest was asking the question, how can my money work for me in multiple ways?
Exactly.
And that starts to unlock, oh, I don't just have it get deposited in my bank account. Or even with your house, how could my house be an asset that makes me money, or provide something more for me than just a place where my family lives and have a home? There's so much more that the equity of your house can provide for you. So it goes back to really understanding that there are more questions to be asked so that you can go on this journey, which all three of us have been on, to figure out what are those little things that I can do that aren't it's just a mindset, it's knowledge, it's the ability to make better decisions because you have better questions that you're
Exactly.
Exactly.
And
And ladies, and the same way, think about the house. Lots of people think it's my biggest investment. No, it's your biggest liability.
yeah,
This is your
exactly.
biggest liability. However, if you know strategies, how I can make liability my asset
yes.
and use it for me, and then if we go into tax-free strategies, then we're golden, like
Yeah, I
really
know.
golden.
I know. Well, yes. Oh gosh, so much to learn, isn't it? I love it. I never thought that finance will really interest me. It's like because it just I love solving problem, and that's what it does. It gives you options. So from here, I know you do some kind. I know Caroline and I do as well some life insurance type, but it's IUL. It's Index Universal Life Insurance, and I think you do something similar. So what is it you do, and how do you? In what way you introduce that to people, and what strategy you're using it for?
Shall we start from taxes? Let's go from taxes because it will tie up everything together.
Okay.
As you know, like how our income is actually getting taxed, like everything what we have, right? There are three buckets. One bucket is taxable income. Then we have deferred taxes, and then we have tax exempt.
Exactly.
You know how rich people live. They go from tax exempt, tax deferred, and taxable. So
Yeah.
this is like, should be almost at zero, correct?
Yeah.
And that's how we deal with our investments. Because if we have an emergency fund, we don't have a choice. We put it on short-term savings account, and it will be taxable as capital gain. We cannot avoid it, only if we're losing money, but what is the point, right? This bucket is kind of like, this is emergency fund. It's exactly why we advise people to not keep too much money in the emergency funds.
Yeah.
Have it like 3 times of your monthly income. The rest needs to be invested somewhere else.
Exactly.
Deferred, that's probably the most prominent, especially for people who are on W-2, and probably we still 75% of our population is on W-2.
Right.
And your financial person in HR tells you for 1K, it's absolutely, you have to have 401k because it's actually individual tax retirement account, right? Tax retirement, individual retirement account, where taxes came from. Anyway, tongue twister. And everyone is clapping because, cool, I will pay less taxes. Also, my employer said he or she or they will match something. Cool.
Free money.
I love free money. It's awesome. However, never ever put more than your employer matches. This is it. You stand there.
Exactly.
And then when we start talking about what do you think about taxes? What will happen with taxes next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years?
Always goes up.
Yeah.
Always.
I heard an argument from one young gentleman, and he said, well, we elected Trump, so he will use tariffs. I'm like, cool, dude. Can I tell you something? The history of our country, we're going on almost 300.
Yeah.
We're only going up because there will be other ways to tax us.
Yes.
Maybe not on federal, it will be another level.
Absolutely.
Every time when you put money in your 401k, you pretty much defer your taxes.
Absolutely.
Good luck when you get older.
Yeah.
And speaking of tax exempt, this is the most interesting category, and people pretty much, majority of population doesn't have a slightest clue besides Roth IRA. Roth IRA is really cool. However, if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, over 188,000 as a couple, I believe it's 23, some ballpark numbers.
Yeah.
You cannot invest in Roth IRA.
You know
Correct?
what? I did not know that.
Yes. And in individual, it's 130.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Besides,
Okay.
very like you have to be 59 and a half to withdraw money from
Yes.
Roth IRA. Yes, you can use it for your investments, but there are certain stipulations. And also, it's still individual retirement account, meaning in our lovely country, people like to sue each other. They can sue and they can take money because it's individual. Besides being volatile, we're
Personal.
not
I
even
mean, it's personal.
personal.
Right?
Yes, it's personal. It's individual.
Yeah.
You cannot have Roth as a corporation.
Yeah.
Now we're going into another strategy. We can invest in municipal bonds, but they bring in maybe 2.5%. So inflation as of today is 13, even though our government tells us it's 2.5. And the last one, which is tax exempt, is IRS code 7702. Yeah. For people who don't know, it's actually universal life insurance or whole life insurance, any permanent life insurance that is in this tax code category. Now we're getting into cool stuff because everyone thinks, yeah, life insurance, that's when I will die, and that's blah, 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 blah.
Again, not educated. I mean, even when I thought life insurance seems to me, oh, I'm dying. Everything is about death, which we know it's not. So
Seriously, that's absolutely exciting thing, especially about universal indexed life insurance. And probably we need to educate people how index accounts really works, right?
Yes.
Because we have indexed. Oh my gosh, why I have that blank in my head? Because we have index funds, and we have indexed accounts. When we talk about universal indexed life insurance, insurance companies use accounts, not funds. And the difference is, fund is where money is invested. So it works on index. And usually they pay less because that's how cookie crumbles, right?
yeah.
With insurance companies, they use S&P, most of the time they use S&P 500, and they use it as an index.
Yes.
And they invest money in something else.
Yes.
For people who have no idea how insurance companies invest money, there is a little secret. Insurance companies invest 95% in bonds. To be absolutely secure, it's exactly how they can provide that index when you don't lose money. 5% invested in calls. What does it mean? When market goes up, insurance companies start putting money right here. 95 protected. 5% doing whatever 5% needs to do.
More risk.
And they do only calls, only. And they stop right here. So index works like this. Money goes up, stays right there. If market goes down, you're leveled.
Yeah, exactly.
Market goes up, and we're going up and up and up and up. So what it tells us, because all of us right here, 3 ladies, we're investors, right?
Yes.
We invest in different things. However, real estate being passion of mine, Miri's passion, Caroline, yeah, we're all interested in real estate because real estate is really cool. Speaking of tax strategies, not just tax strategies, lots of
it's
strategies.
so much.
And,
So much.
yeah, write-offs and stuff like that. What can this lovely universal index life insurance can do for us? And we can look at actually mid-term and long-term. On short-term, we cannot use the strategy because it's never been designed. Because life insurance, first and foremost, is a life or death benefit. That's from the beginning, and also provide living benefits. We don't have time to go into living benefits. Let's talk about investment part, face value. But again, we don't have time to go into term and stuff like that. How we can use this face value, what is getting accumulated inside of life insurance, what we can do with it. Usually it takes about maybe 9-10 years when you build capital there. However, we know that 10 years goes like this, right? While we're doing normal strategies for real estate, 10 years will fly by. Correct? And then we can do something very, very interesting. We can borrow money from the life insurance company against this policy. Not take money out, just borrow money against this policy. Our money is still invested.
Exactly. That's what I love about it. Isn't it amazing?
Yes, but ladies, the best part, it's not just tax-free. It's tax that you don't have to report it on taxes. It's unreportable income.
I know. It's so amazing. All the little things that it has. It's like, and nobody knows. You tell them,
Yes.
they're like, what? I'm not going to die tomorrow. I can wait, you know? Oh my gosh.
You can, but why not to wait with lots of money?
Exactly. Why not go in trumpet, right?
Exactly. I never heard like, oh my gosh, I have too much money, right?
No, nobody does. What is it,
And
Carolyn?
yeah.
No, well, and it goes back again to I remember when I learned about this, and I was chatting with my mom, and she said, "Oh yes, that's how we paid for your brother's private education," which the rest of us kids didn't have.
Amazing.
And I thought, but why didn't you share that with me?
Exactly.
So that's the other component of it that you and Miri and I are also passionate about. It's not enough for us to know it. It's so important to share this with as many people as possible who want to know it but don't know that they need to know it, or know that it's knowledge that will change their lives.
Absolutely.
And the life insurance is one of those components, because everyone thinks that I've got to go with the company plan and the free money. And it's not to say that there isn't value in a portion of that, but that isn't your only option. And it isn't the option that has the most flexibility, because that's the other part of life insurance that's so critical to understand, is how much flexibility there is with what you can do with your money that you're putting in that cash value component.
And you don't have those restrictions. You don't have to wait till 59 and a half to pull anything. It's like so many little nuances that makes your life so much better. You know, you can say, wow, there's options. I can do something else. I don't have to be stuck.
Like you said, like, woof, possibilities start opening up.
Yes, I absolutely love it.
Absolutely. And also another thing I heard, life insurance for people like universal index life insurance in particular, or whole life insurance, for people who don't know how to invest money. And I was like, really? Let me tell you something. You know that S&P 500, lots of people invest into them, actually performs in 10 years and 20 years, because we're going 2008, some right there, 5.6.
Yeah, it's not that big.
It's not.
Exactly. Transamerica, Universal Index Life Insurance, 9.8. And no one lost money, even in this crazy 2008.
I know, that's what's nice.
Yeah.
And only that, just the roller coaster that you go through, and you're losing time, and that's part of the problem. It's just, it goes up, it goes down, and then you have that gap, and you have to catch up, and then you go up again. And And again, it's not to say there's no space for it, but if you put all your money there, that's how we see people that cannot really, truly retire. Whatever retire means to people. I mean, I don't think I ever going to retire. I don't know what it means because I can't be more than 1 week in the beach and then I get bored. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I just met a woman that was 78, and I said, "So are you kind of slowing down?" She goes, "Oh heavens, no! I
No.
invest in mobile home parks. I do rehabs on mobile home
Good
things.
for her.
Great." And I'm, and she said, and then she invented this machine that you stand on and it vibrates at certain frequencies, and it really helps people get their mobility back.
Shush.
And, she goes, "I can't believe at 65 I got a company to design this for me, and
Wow.
then 2 years ago
You
sold
see?
it." So
Gives you purpose.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
when you have purpose, you live longer, you feel better. But
I actually saw a thing about Alzheimer's that they're finding that there's really no drug that course corrects that progression of Alzheimer's, but it becomes a lifestyle and engagement in and that changes, that they are finding now, doing studies that are showing that keeps Alzheimer's from progressing in
I'm
cases. I'm
honestly,
but I thought it goes back to what you're just saying right here, is there are so many possibilities available to us, and it requires us to realize that, first of all, we can learn. It's not so overwhelming and so confusing if we find the people that can explain it to us where it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the doors start opening of, oh, well, I could invest in real estate then with my cash value life insurance. With that cash value, there's ways of, again, having your money work for you in multiple places, not just in your 401k until you're 59 and a half. And I say too that people's lives, things are always happening. We're having to adjust and regroup and re-strategize, and the more flexibility we can have with where our money is, it just gives us more possibilities for the future and peace of mind. That's what I tell people as well, is this zero floor is really something to understand about
Absolutely.
not losing.
Absolutely.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. We're on the same page. And yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, because Miri and I kind of stumbled across life insurance, it wasn't something, I mean, finally we had the aha that we need to take a look at this, and we both got licensed in it, which I'm sure, I would love to know what your story was of stumbling across, oh, look at this tool that's available to us, and then you getting into this industry to think, there is no reason that we have to remain ignorant. We've got to be getting the word out and showing people what really is possible, and expanding their just being financially independent instead of only with that W-2 and that 401k as their option.
Yeah, you know what, that is like I said, my issue was that my clients have so much debt, and I met a gentleman who said, you know what, can I show you what I do? And then life insurance, so I got invited to the presentation. And I'm sitting there, I was like, oh my gosh, I heard millions of these presentations. But one thing caught my attention when he said unreported income. It was literally, and I'm like, I need to talk to this guy.
Yeah, because I learned that, because you can actually work as long as you want, make 300,000. It doesn't matter. That income that's going to come every month, it's not reported. It doesn't affect your income or your taxes, which is amazing. When I learned that, really, that's so awesome.
Yeah. Think about retirement. People who are retired and they're getting Social Security.
It's taxed.
Everything taxed.
Exactly.
Everything taxed. 100 times.
And also, if you have any income, you decide like it's not enough Social Security, it's not enough, I will go and work, right? It will be taxable.
Yes.
And then they will cut part of your social security, what you actually paid for.
I know. It's
And
something
that
actually told me.
also isn't information that's readily given. I think I
No, they
learned
don't
about
tell you.
taxing Social Security within the last decade, some point, and I thought, what?
It's crazy. It's like somebody told me, "Hey, Miri, we at least our money taxed over and over. It's like almost 7 times on the same money, on the
Oh,
same
yeah.
dollars." It's like you're thinking this is insanity. That's why we need to learn strategy to mitigate that. Even if we cut half of it, it's a win.
Exactly. You know what? It would be lovely if we could, like, think about it. We make a buck. We pay taxes on this buck, right? Then we go to the store. It's the same dollar. It has been taxed already.
Okay,
Then it gets taxed again.
I
And
know.
then the owner of the store paying taxes on taxes that
I
been
know.
already taxed.
It's
Yes.
crazy. It's
It doesn't make
insanity.
any sense.
It
However,
doesn't.
obviously for our government it makes sense because it just pretty much milking so many cows, and where are those cows? And we can get smarter about that. And that's what, there's literally, I honestly, I'm the same like Miri. Because when I heard first time about life insurance, I'm like,
Yeah, that's how you
it's
feel.
like I'm not planning to die. I will live really long life. And now I'm like, I can live really long life and have
Well,
money there. And
but
they told me that I can pretty much, if I use annuity and play with all the strategies, if I will live until 300, and I will.
yeah,
How cool is that? Because the still policies are 120.
I know. And I'll say one more thing before you can wrap it up for us. Life happens so many times. I've been in situations with friends that something happens so unexpectedly. I mean, when I say unexpectedly, people healthy, nothing wrong with them, and they just drop dead, literally. One of them had nothing. When I say nothing, nothing left to the family, to collect so they can help them. And one did that and find out 10 years after he was having a cancer that's not going to be curable. So he was prepared. So you see the difference. And he didn't know he's going to have cancer that's not curable at 30, right? He didn't know that. But he was prepared. He did what he needed to do. And the other person, my friend, I mean, she's not totally broke, but she had to go to work because she had nothing coming in, nothing to help her to recover from her unexpected death of her husband. And that's what I say to people. I know you think you're young, and I know you think you're invisible, and I know you think you're never gonna die, and nothing gonna happen to you. But let me tell you, life happens. You don't know what tomorrow will bring. So why not be prepared? I mean, why not? So that's my feeling. That I wish I knew half of what I knew even 20 years ago. So that's
Well,
my
and also
perspective.
not that don't be intimidated on this journey of being financially educated. Don't
Absolutely.
just take it a conversation at a time and keep building your knowledge.
Absolutely.
And it will lead you to people with better information and strategies, and also include your spouse or your significant other, because some people say, well, my spouse is taking care of all of that, I don't need to worry, he's got it all
Involved.
under control. That's also an issue I'm sure you're seeing as well. Or they'll say,
I
I
was
just don't
there.
want to be bothered, I don't, I've too much to be thinking about this. But I think when you have two people that are able to discuss money without heated discussions, and also have clarity of the options, you both have clarity of the options, and you're putting in the work to understand what your options are. It's a whole different
Absolutely.
future.
Absolutely.
I,
So, Maria,
mhm.
what do you want to leave our audience with? And
Well,
then as
first,
well, where they can find you
how we can
too.
find Maria, yeah, because you have all sorts of different ways to learn from you.
You know what? The craziest part, you know what I tell people? Please Google me. You will find me. You will find my book, which is hiding somewhere about marketing. That's how people find me, like literally.
Okay.
Yeah. And probably the easiest way, also, you literally can email me at mariaserbina@gmail. And this is the easiest one. I have a long email that I use for my business purposes, but then people won't be able to figure out the spelling. But mariaserbina@gmail, you can find me. And like literally, if you Google me, you will find me, you find my websites, you will find my social media, you can find my YouTube, everything is right there. So I'm very, I recommend people also Google yourself if you want to learn something about yourself. This is marketing tip besides money.
Learn something you didn't know about yourself. How's that?
Oh, exactly. And you know what, for people, especially professionals, and we talk about business owners, you need to know, because it's like, how people can find me? Like, look what you have on the internet. Is it your picture or it's someone else?
Yeah.
And now I'm talking as a lender. Exactly.
So I'm
because
going to Google myself. I'm going to Google myself after.
yes, but you have to do it in incognito mode, not your normal mode. You do it in incognito. Or ask someone to Google you. That's how you can find me. And my word of wisdom, there is so much to learn. That's first. Second, we have people who have this knowledge. And third, always remember that financial industry was created for rich and wealthy. However, with knowledge, what three of us, even our little knowledge, what we have, you can move from broke to wealthy. You can. And I'm not saying you have to have millions, billions, trillions.
No.
Speaking of, I want to give you stats at the end. How it's not like how bad we are, but pretty much how much field we have to work with. Because in last quarter of 2023, our population had $1.2 trillion in debt in credit cards. Trillion.
Wow, I can't even fathom trillion, honestly, that's beyond my head.
Yeah, total household debt in 2023 last quarter was almost $18 trillion.
Household debt? That's like, what's our country debt?
Total household debt. Yes.
You don't mean
our
individually,
household debt in the United States.
The household
No, it's total household.
In 1 year.
Combined.
Yeah.
That went from 2023 to 2024, increased by 17 trillion.
Oh my gosh, it's
it was credit card debt, but reality is it grew. Like in 2003, total debt was around 6 trillion. In 2023, we are almost at 18 trillion. That's what we accumulated with inflation and everything. That's what we're carrying. So why we do this? Why we're not using this money to work for us, be debt-free and use debt strategies, and pretty much move to wealthy category. So that's that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it was lovely talking to you. I'm sure we're going to get you back because we have so much more to talk about. It's awesome, Maria. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And this is, I think it's amazing. I think the whole subject for beginning of 2025 is perfect. Set the stage for everybody to say, I feel like everybody should say, okay, this year I need to learn a little bit more about finance. Take it on yourself. Just educate yourself. And see where you are, see where you want to go. And if you need help, any of us are in social media. We'd love to help you, learn with you, grow with you. Be awesome. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much for having me, ladies.
Fantastic having you with us today.
Yeah, and pray for me that the weather is not too bad. There is a horrible ice storms in the part of the country that I'm flying into tomorrow. So we'll see. Because I can't wait to see my babies. Yes. Anyway, thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Maria. And we'll be in touch.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Bye,
Take
Maria.
care,
Bye,
ladies.
Caroline. All right.
Take
Have a
care.
good one. Bye.
Bye.